Hello everybody, John Hannon here, founder and president of the World Hockey Institute in Buffalo Prospects, and we're delighted today to have Nick Carriare with us. Nick is the head coach at Buffalo State. We're also going to start with the topic of scouting and becoming a standout player, just to try to educate the parents and the kids about. Everybody thinks, oh, well, I'm just going to go to high school, and then I'm going to play juniors, then I'm going to go play D1 or D3. And for those who are not familiar, Nick played at Niagara University and also was an assistant coach at Fredonia State. Thereafter, played some pro between those two events and had a good experience after his Niagara days. And part of the early contingent at Niagara in the building of the program there, Fredonia State, and then came to Buff State as an assistant coach. Did you come directly as assistant or
I
directly
came
as head coach?
as head coach directly.
Head coach,
Yeah.
chief cook, bottle washer,
Chief
Zamboni driver.
You do it all, yeah. Zamboni driver.
I think he's made it to the executive level though now. You don't still drive a Zamboni?
I still do.
Do you
I
really?
still do. That's
Okay.
part of my role at Buffalo State is assistant ice arena manager,
Okay.
and I work closely with Jim Fowler, who,
that's
who
right,
who
yeah.
gave me. It was a big part in giving me the opportunity to coach at Buffalo State, and I take pride in that. It's
Sure.
we take pride in our building, and
Beautiful
I
building,
think it's
yeah.
kind of a actually I took my father. Out, and he'd always wanted to drive a
Oh, is that
Zamboni.
right?
So I said, "All right, you're driving," and he couldn't believe how difficult it was.
there.
And I got a call the next morning. I said, "Hey, was that you who did the ice?" I said, "No, that was my dad. No, I'll do it up for you."
As long as he didn't draft one of those infamous rivers down the middle with the auger.
No.
Stuff
We
like
were,
that takes weeks to refill.
No, he did an okay job. Zebra ice is what we call it. You know,
Nice.
but he enjoyed it.
Did you get a picture?
I did not. I think we don't want to keep pictures of that. That was a pretty ugly one.
Well, Nick, let's talk a little bit about the type of players that you're looking for, the past. I mean, you're out and about scouting players all winter long and relying on friends and relatives, I'm sure, too. But, you know, the old adage was everybody thought you could go directly out of high school to play college. That's not happening. And even at the high-end Division III level like yours, almost everybody plays some juniors or stuff like that. So talk a little bit about what the career path is, you know, for a 14-year-old now. What should he expect?
Well, I think, you know, the high school level is a good start. You know, I think there's some good programs out there. When I first moved here, I played at Williamsville North High School for Bob Rosen, but even at that time, and that was late 90s, you know, junior hockey was prevalent. You know, that is the experience, whether it's the skill development, the maturity, playing against older guys, you know, the 20-year-old guy that, you know, he's pumping gas at the gas station with the full beard that, you know, he's going to run you in the corner every time. You don't really have that in high school hockey, and there's a big difference between the levels in preparation to play, you know, at our level. You know, I think if you're trying to go from high school to play, you know, especially at the SUNYAC level, at Division III, it's a very difficult transition. You're trying to jump 2 levels, where it's hard enough to jump 1 level and be comfortable at that level. So that, you know, the junior hockey thing ends up being a big piece, and we look for guys that are experienced, and it's just, it ends up being, from our perspective, a simple equation where we say if a player is really a high-end player and he's young and he's, you know, progressing very well, he's not playing for us. He's, you know, as long as his academics are in line, he's playing at the Division I level, or he's going to play major junior. So we're going to get the guys that, for one reason or another, you know, maybe late bloomer, maybe, you know, academically they need to work on some things and take a little more time and play some more junior hockey, bigger, stronger, older. From a coach's perspective, I have guys that they're not just moving from mom and dad's house and coming right into college, into dorm life and maybe apartment life and all the different freedoms that they kind of learn how to figure all that stuff out. Maybe they've lived with the Billet family. And, you know, I know your guys were all over the place. And that experience alone to me is huge maturity-wise, because now I get some guys that have, you know, they're 19, 20, you know, for the most part, my whole team is of age, you know, when we look around our athletic department, every other team, it's not that way, you know, so it's a very different landscape in college hockey, and we want to try to get the best possible players that are going to help us win.
Sure. So sometimes people aren't as familiar with the level and the quality of play. There's a number of, I've always said the top Division III teams could easily beat the bottom 10-15% of some of the Division I programs on a good day. I
Yep.
mean, maybe not 9 out of 10, but they can beat them.
You can beat them. Yeah.
Yep. And Oswego lost in the national championship this year. That's a team in your conference. You bloody each other's noses, right? Every single year, and
Definitely.
it's a very high level of hockey, actually.
Well, there's no D2 in hockey. There's I think 4 or 5 Division II teams that are classified as that. But even those teams, they're having difficulty nowadays to try to find a home in the landscape of NCAA hockey. So you have Division I, and the guys that aren't able to make that level at Division I for whatever reason, don't get seen, step behind, a step too slow, hockey sense a little bit off, academically. There's so many different variables. They end up playing Division III, and they end up playing at some of the the premier schools of Division III, and that's those are the guys that are difference makers that bring your school to a different echelon, and that's a lot of the reasons where we've had some of our success over the years is finding some of those guys. Hey, coaching is coaching, and everybody tries to do their little thing to bring the discipline or the fundamental things that you want to bring to your program and change it. But in the end, players win games.
Sure.
You need guys to be able to bring the mail and to be able to execute on the ice in order to get things done out there.
Yeah, and kids have to. I sort of feel kids have to fall wherever they fall. And there's no shame, and it's about being with friends and competing and learning all those life lessons.
That's a great subject you touched on right there. I remember sitting down with I think it was Don Luce and my father and someone else, and we actually did a little seminar here and just met with a bunch of parents from the area, and statements coming out like, my kid's going to play D1, and it was whoa. Why do you think that? Well, because he plays for the AAA team. So it doesn't mean anything. There's a lot that has to fall into place. There's only so many of those things, and it's all nice to have the dream. Good dream, baby. Keep dreaming. But there's a point where you got to kind of say, I got to go somewhere where I'm going to play if I want to play.
Right.
I want to go somewhere where I can play and have a good experience, and that might be Division I if you can make it. It might be Division III in ECAC West or in the SUNYAC, and the conferences that we battle and we know that it's a very high level, or it might be some of the other conferences in Division III that might not quite be at the level that that some of the other ones are at, and maybe it's club. And there's I think 3 or 4 levels of club hockey now, where, like you said, you got guys that have played junior hockey, and maybe guys that want to go down south and and just get away from the grind of being in the Northeast. And I've had conversations with recruits where I've been, wow, you're sure you don't want to play here? And no, I want to go play club. You know what?
I want to play club at Arizona State.
I kind of want to play club at Arizona State as well. So it's,
for sure.
But I think that's really important for people to understand, is that if you can pair academics with athletics and put that together in a school environment for 4 years, you're gonna have a great time. That's your fraternity. Your team is your fraternity, and it ends up being a great experience. And
is it about playing on the best team? Is it about playing in the best rink? Is it about having the best equipment, having the snazziest uniform? Is it about the best coaching? Is it about being around a great group of kids? I'm throwing a lot at you, but
I'm going to try to remember a few of them.
Yeah,
it's not about the equipment or the flash or any of that sort of stuff. So it's not about playing in the nicest rink, or if you have the opportunity to have ice, and if you have a pair of skates that fit and don't make your feet bleed, we're in the plus column.
Yep.
You get a stick and some hand-me-down equipment, you're a hockey player. Awesome.
Yep.
You get to play the game. I think that's where things should begin. I come from Montreal, outdoor rinks, and playing with the big kids and little kids and learning to pass the puck, and kind of being a teacher and a mentor, depending on if you're the older kid or the younger kid.
Yeah.
And that's all part of the growth of it. When it comes down to tryouts, it's not about playing on the best team per se. If you embrace every opportunity to get on the ice as an opportunity to get better, now you're actually approaching things the way that any businessman would want to approach trying to seal a deal or trying to improve your company. You go there with a purpose to get better, not just to go through the drills and do what the coach says, but to do it to perfection, to a T, and be a real student of the game. And then, you know, for us, when I go out and look for players, you know, anybody can pick out the kid that's the best player. You know, it's pretty, I don't want to say anybody, but I think it's relatively easy to see who's got the stick skill and who can really skate. And you know, it's easy, but you know, when the ref makes a bad call, is he yapping at the referee and trying to convince him? I've never seen a ref change his mind and say, hey, your argument's really good. You know, the discipline, the demeanor, you know, you tapping your teammates on the butt on the way pass, hey, good shift, even if you turn the puck over and it's in the back of your net, or you know, are you skating right by the guy and just doing your thing? Like, all those little things are things that, you know, you mentioned, are you playing with a team with a real bunch of good guys, you know? Well, if that level is a low level and you don't have to try and you're just staying there to be with your buddies, well, if you like being with your buddies, great.
Yeah.
Go hang out with your buddies. If you really have a drive to get better, well, challenge yourself and every day, you know, work at it and compete and keep that compete level tenacious, because that's what sticks out to me. You know, when I see someone just dying and never giving up and back checking and just spending it all the time, you know, I'll take someone with a little less skill with a lot higher compete, just because that's the way that I coach our team in a physical, tenacious kind of way. I like playing that style of hockey.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different dimensions, but I heard you say skill and compete. Those, some guys are better at one than the other for sure.
Well, yeah, I had a lot of compete. I didn't have a lot of skill.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, for sure. For sure. We appreciate all your advice to the parents and kids. And Nick is also going to be out with us, has been over the years, and be out with us with the clinics and whatnot. So he's always a great guy to have. And
looking forward to it.
Be the tallest guy in the building that day, especially once he gets his skates on. But
exactly.
we want to thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Pleasure.